Okay, sorry, I had a brief delay there for the cell phone interruption. And I'm looking at the screen here from what we set it at. 1/10 of a second shutter speed and 3.5 aperture. So once we get this where we want to, we take the shutter button, which is the button you the stained part of the paper that I had with pluses and minuses. So I have ran over that with a highlighter so that you could see some of this with the fluorescent filter, and the image that I had before, of course, just isn't really showing up because it's not reflecting in this low light environment. So now I can actually change to get a better image here. I can go back and toggle so that I can change my light balance again, and as I allow more and more light to come in, so an aperture, I'm sorry, a shutter speed of 2 seconds, you can actually see the business card now, and you can see a lot more of this paper that I put the highlighter on. And so we probably don't want it to be that bright if we're taking a gel picture, but once you get an actual gel in here, you'll be able to get a very good idea of what you want based on the low light level and the amount of time that you're going to run the shutter speed. So once you've set that shutter speed, I'm going to leave it at half a second here. Or maybe just a little bit higher. Actually, I'll leave it right at half a second. I'll go and change the aperture to as low as possible. And so with the aperture, I can see if I increase it, it allows less light to come in. If I decrease it, it gives me a little bit of a sharper image. So same thing, I'm going to hold the shutter button down halfway to save the settings. So once I've saved those settings in place, then they're going to be there the next time I want to take a UV picture. I'll then push the shutter button to take the picture, and there I go. So from here I have a memory card in the bottom of the camera, and the memory card itself will pop right out. The system comes with a USB card reader. I'll put this in the card reader, plug it into the USB port on the computer, and I'll be able to take a look at my pictures. So backing off this thing just a little bit here, you see there's two handles on the side, one on each side actually, so we can lift this up. To show you it's not very heavy, I'll just grab it with one hand on the side. I can lift it straight up. It's probably about 10 or 15 pounds. So I can set this back down. Just got to be careful with all the cords attached to it right now. But you can do that with two hands quite easily, and put a bigger size gel in if it's something that's too big for the door. As far as printing or setting up a printer, if you do have an analog printer, you just simply put it on here, push the print button. From this port, it'll actually send the information, whatever is on the viewing screen itself, and it will print right off through the thermal. Or if you even have just a photo printer, you could use that with this style of camera. Now if you do want to use computer connectivity, and instead of using our 8-inch screen, you can use your computer monitor, what you can do is look inside this piece. There is a USB connectivity port right here. Once you've plugged that in, you'll have a normal sized USB plug to plug into your computer. The software for this will actually communicate directly with the computer, and your images will want to start transferring automatically. So two different options to do that, and of course you have remote shooting. Once you get into the remote shooting aspect of this, you can actually change the ISO settings, which you can do actually by a small button on top of the camera here. If you wanted to change the ISO setting, you would just simply change this dial on the bottom. We typically keep it at about 80 if we can for these types of agarose gels. If it's some different application, we need a different starting point, we can also change that around. So that's a brief overview of how to use a Digimage system. If you have any other requests of information of what we can do and can't do with this system, please simply let me know. One thing I did not explain is there's one more cord here. And this cord actually is for the DC coupler. Right now, I've simply used the battery of the camera, but on a day-to-day basis, you would not use the battery of the camera. There is a small DC coupler that will plug in place of the battery, and instead of running the battery and needing to charge it all the time, you simply just plug this DC coupler or this DC cord into this DC coupler, and that way you'll actually be running through the power of the system through the whole time. It powers the camera up by itself, and there's no need